It's election day, and that means that you have to get outside of yourself just for today, because there's a franchise that you have to make known. If you don't like the way things are going in your life, well, maybe you can't do everything at once, but in election day, you can sometimes change things about. Have you voted?
Not yet. We have to get here a little earlier than the polls open, but I will be leaving to vote as soon as the show is over.
And so will I. Voting is your privilege, and what you do with it, of course, is your choice. Exercise that choice. David Viscott, and welcome back. Of course, it is an interesting morning, and we have some interesting callbacks from some people who called yesterday. So this is a show that is going to have a little more continuity, which is what I've been hoping for, because just to hear people one time without follow-up doesn't make for a very satisfying relationship. So we're going to be able to find out what people are doing with some of the advice they're getting. Good morning, Dottie.
Good morning. Our first call, we have Jaya. She's on line 15. Her 3-year-old son was assaulted by a 6-year-old, and she's very concerned about it.
13?
On line 15.
15. Jaya? Jaya?
Hi, Dr. Viscott.
How old are you, Jaya?
I'm 42.
What happened?
Well, I was outside watering, and this one boy had been playing with my son, and when he spent the night at another person's house, I became concerned. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we suddenly have a lot of echo.
Okay, the kids are trying to watch it in the other room. Wait a
Hold
minute.
on. Sound person, can you cut off the echo? Thank you. Go ahead.
When the one child that assaulted my son had spent the night at this one house, I had become concerned and stopped letting my kids play with them.
What do you mean assaulted? How?
I don't know if he was assaulted at this one. Okay, I'm probably getting you confused.
How was your son assaulted?
My son was he was assaulted with a butter knife in his bottom, and
He put a butter knife in his rectum?
yes, and it all happened in
Excuse me. A butter knife, they have two ends. One is a blade and one is the round end, right?
yeah, I think it was the blade end, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
And
Your son is how old again?
my son, he just turned 3. He was actually 2 when it happened.
2 when it happened.
Yeah, he was like,
So
he just turned 3 about a couple weeks later.
When did this thing happen?
It happened 2 months ago.
Okay, so it's 2 months. And how did this get to your awareness?
He told me later that afternoon.
And what have you been doing with this information?
And then,
Excuse me, what have you been doing with this information?
I'm afraid to tell I called the psychiatrist.
You're afraid to tell...
I'm afraid to tell the authorities because to get any therapy, because the psychiatrist I called told me that the only way I could get therapy is if I reported it to Child Protective Services. And these guys are drug addicts, and they've already, slashed my tires. They've already threatened me, and they're crazy. And I'm like, I'm protective of my children. These guys let their children run the neighborhood.
Well,
and
you have to understand the difference between although your son's anus was penetrated with a foreign object doesn't mean it was a sexual assault. It's just a horrible assault on your son. Whether it was sexual or not remains to be seen, but there certainly is some sexual feeling about it, right?
Well, he was orally assaulted, and
He was orally assaulted. How?
yeah. Well,
speak frankly, so I
okay.
can.
He told me that the other boy put his mouth on my son's genitals, and that he was kissing him on the face or the lips.
Okay, this is a sexual assault. No
And
question.
yeah, and
All right. So why would you? What psychiatrist are you talking about? Not the name, but how did you get to a psychiatrist?
Well, it was a psychiatrist that I had spoken to before.
Yeah.
During therapy myself, but I didn't tell him my name when I called him up, but I just asked him, could I come get help for my son, or what is the laws about it, because I'd heard about this law. And
What is your hesitation, my friend?
Because I'm afraid, because these people have already threatened me, and they're like heavily into drugs, and if Child Protective Services comes into their scene, they're gonna suffer consequences.
I know, but you already have suffered consequences, and your job is to protect your son.
Well,
Let me give you a plan of action.
okay.
Are you married?
No.
Okay. Pack up your belongings and everything you own and move 20 miles away.
That's what I was gonna do.
Today.
Today.
Today. Can you do that?
No.
Then what are we talking about? You need protection right where you are. Why should you take it? Why should you allow your son to exist in jeopardy? I mean, unless you're going to separate your son from a known perpetrator, a kid who's obviously disturbed from a family that's dysfunctional and probably full of abuse, which he's acting out in a hypersexualized way over other children, this is going to happen again and again.
The thing is that the people in the neighborhood know that it happened, because I confronted the parents, and then so the parents told all the people in the neighborhood, and they were making fun of me and stuff. And then also my son, when he goes out to get in the car and stuff, then he says, stay away from me, Jason. You molested me. And so they all know about it, but they all let their little babies and children just play out there all the time. So they don't care. It's like they don't care.
Wait, they will. But the point is, you have to make a decision.
But how can I make them care? I mean,
You
it's
cannot
not
make
gonna-
them. You cannot make them care.
I think it'll just make it worse for us. Because
Well, the point I'm making is you have two courses of action. Actually, three. You can do nothing and accept the ridicule and go into hiding. Not very satisfying, is it?
Well, I've already been in hiding because I got raped 15 years ago. And
Wait, put that aside for a second. We'll go into it in a second, but it's important. You can go into hiding as you always have. You can move, or you can take arms against this battle. What do you want to do? You were raped when you were 27?
Yeah.
What did you do about that?
Well, I didn't report it, and then I had a nervous breakdown after about a year and a half.
Okay.
And then,
So have you learned from that experience?
Well, I learned that I think martial arts helped me a lot on that one. Because
That's not what you learn from that experience. What you learn from that experience is that keeping it in makes you crazy.
Yes.
And you're keeping it in again, and your son is suffering.
He seems to be getting better, though. That's
Your son is in grave and present danger because now they're getting the perpetrator of his assault maybe has gotten a little heated home and is now going to go after your kid again to get even. Don't you understand how this works?
But I'm always with my son. I protect him all the time now.
Where were you when it happened?
It happened in 3 to 5 minutes. I was outside watering. My son was...
Guess what? That's how it will happen again. Joya, how do I get you out of denial? You live there. It's such a dangerous place for you. I mean,
I don't know. They've already threatened me.
all right, so they've threatened you, so you can leave.
Okay, but that
Either
that'll
go to
probably...
the police or leave, but you cannot allow your son. Your son is going to be damaged again.
Well, what I was thinking of doing is being able to move in about 6 months or a year when I save my money up.
Too late.
Even though he seems to be getting better, it's too late. Huh?
You seem to be getting better before you had your nervous breakdown, didn't you?
No,
You didn't?
I don't think so.
It got real quiet and someone looking at you say, oh, she's over it. When you went in and got quiet, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
People must have thought, oh, she's handling it pretty well, right?
Probably.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You have to learn from your experience, and you're not doing that. Protect your child.
But how can I protect my child against the whole world?
The world that that's what the police...
The world I'm in. I'm in the ghetto. The police do not care. The police were called out here over sexually explicit cussing. They did nothing.
Well,
they don't care. They don't live here.
That may well be, but the point is, I think that either you bring child welfare into this, which is going to bring the heat on you, or you figure a way to get out of there. Now, come on, you've got to understand. See, the problem with being in a ghetto mentality is that you say, I have to save up till I can do it. That's a ghetto mentality. That ghetto is the ghetto of your mind. A free person says, I'm just not going to allow this to happen. I don't care what I have to do or where I have to go. I'm out of here now. As soon as you make that, the world becomes open to you. As soon as you say, well, I don't have enough to do it now, I have to tolerate this abuse, then you're trapped. You have a decision to make.
I guess I'm afraid that if I move to a new neighborhood, it's just going to be the same old neighborhood all over with new faces, I guess.
I don't think that's true. I think you're dealing with a real perpetrator, and I think you have to do something about it. And stay on the line. We're going to get you some help with this because you really need to do that. What people go through, huh? But the point is, the barriers inside yourself are the most powerful barriers for containing you. Not where you come from, not what you were born with, not your education.
I noticed that in a lot of these calls that we get, David, people are very afraid of the intervention of the Child Protective Services, as Jaya called it. Why is that?
Because they come in so heavy-handedly, They're in there to protect the child, and sometimes they protect the child out of his own family. Sometimes a person will have the Child Protective Services called on them for an entirely made-up reason, and they will make a mistake in favor of the child's safety, but not in favor of the child's psychological welfare. They don't have enough staff to handle this. The number of abuses out there is phenomenal, and their ability to make a field assessment that's accurate in a short period of time is limited.
So then what can people do in this situation? What would you recommend to people in general who are facing problems like this? Should you call these people?
Well, if you know that there's a real and honest abuse, these people will come in and swoop the child out. So that's a good thing. But sometimes on suspicion, that's when you get into trouble. Who's next?
We have Melanie on line 14. She's in love with her plastic surgeon.
Aren't we all? Melanie.
Yes.
Hi, Melanie. How old are you?
I'm 26, going on 27.
14. Go ahead.
Well, I guess the reason I'm calling you is for a couple of reasons. First of all, I just want to say I think you're wonderful, and all the wisdom you give so quickly is amazing to me. But I guess the main reason is that I'm feeling my age, and I'm
You're feeling your age?
Yes, because I'm still a virgin.
Why should... Oh, you're throwing things at me that I just don't know how to stop playing with in my head. Go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, this has been on my mind, and I feel like I've never been, in love, and that's really why I'm where I'm at. And
what do you mean you're in love with your plastic surgeon?
Well, because I met him exactly 2 months ago, and I don't know, just something...
What work did he do for you?
He removed some scar tissue from my nose. I've had a car wreck.
Uh-huh.
And so I needed some further surgery on my nose.
Okay, and when he finished it, how did he pronounce his work?
I don't understand.
Did he say, "Oh, you look beautiful now"?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. He said that.
And you took that personally?
No, not that at all.
Go ahead.
I just said I've seen him like probably for a good 10 sessions, which to me is like far more than necessary. And
why?
Just because in the past when I had to have it operated on twice.
Who
before.
initiated the sessions, you or he?
He basically, said, okay, can I see you in 2 days, so on and so forth.
Okay, what do you think that means? You think he's trying to get to know you?
It's a delicate situation.
Do you think he's trying to get to know you?
I almost instinctively, I think, yes. More so than yes. Underneath the patient.
Yes, is what you think. Okay, so...
yeah, I'm just not the kind of person that thinks, oh, of course they like me. You know what I mean?
all right, but what I'm trying to... So you think he has an interest in you?
I thought, yes.
You think or thought?
I'm thinking thought.
You no longer think?
No, but let me tell you something. We're not through yet, because the thing is I have to do a follow-up operation like in January.
May well be, but what I'm trying to do is find out whether or not you think he is interested in you. Or is it over?
I wrote a thank you note like about a week ago.
So hard to Melanie, you know something? You're hard to deal with.
I'm sorry.
You are what we call in the business a tangential relator.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of different
You're right
factors
on the
in it.
nose, right? You know what I mean?
Okay, I'll let you guide the conversation.
Thank you. Is it over?
Oh, is what over?
That's what I'm trying to figure. If I don't know what it is yet, but whatever it is it over?
I hope not. I really hope not.
Melanie, you're a lonely lady. And whenever you start messing around with a physician who's being kind to you or looking after you, you're in for trouble. Not because the physician is a bad person. It's just that you're in a position of need with a person who's giving, and it's a distorted relationship.
Right.
As they say in, let me think the language. I think it's Upper Slobovian. Get a life.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, is that? Are you assuming that I have no life just because I'm a virgin? Is that what you're assuming?
You assume that. I assume
Well,
that.
you said you assume that I'm lonely, and the thing is, I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Do you date?
Well, yeah. In fact, I have a boyfriend on the side.
Okay. On
I
the
mean,
side?
but
What's
see,
on
this
the?
is- this is
Well,
what
what do you
I'm
mean
not-
on the side? Who's your steady?
Well, he's back on the East Coast.
How long has he been on the East Coast?
Well, he lives there.
How often do you see him?
Well, I just moved out here about two to 3 months ago, so I haven't seen him. Like, I'm going to see him probably over Christmas time.
So he's a friend. You have all these platonic friends.
I have I've had relationships up to a certain point, and
Right.
then it's like either they're going to go beyond that, and
Beyond. All right. So you don't want to be involved, right?
I don't know about that. I want to be in love, and I want to feel like, wow,
Okay.
this person hits me deep down before I decide to jump in. You
Then
know?
there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, but I'm 26, going on 27.
So what? You just haven't met the right person. Go with Mr. Wrong, why don't you? And then when you meet Mr. Right, he'll look at you and say, what's wrong with her? She's with this guy who's totally wrong for her. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So you're saying what I'm doing is fine then?
What you're doing is fine, but what's happening is around the edges. You're falling in love with your plastic surgeon because you're a little lonely. You got to admit that because it's true.
I could, but the thing is that, I mean, that's crossed my mind. I'm not complete. I mean, that it did cross my mind, but the thing is that, is it so
That's not
difficult to believe that
No,
somebody might meet somebody that way?
Melanie. The problem is you've got so much chatter in your head. You got all this chatter.
Right.
Yucca-to-do. Is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? Is the guy back east? Is the guy for 2 months? It's chatter. You're looking for one person, and you're afraid to get close, and you're very picky, and all these sorts of things, and you need to have patience, but cut the chatter and find a life that makes sense for you with something to do, something to give, something to be. Not that you haven't found that, but you're never going to find it with a man. You have to find it with yourself first. That goes for you, too, you know. This program, you know, is unlike anything you'll ever see anywhere because we don't know how long a call will be or how long a segment's going to be because we follow the person. Sometimes they get chatty and they don't let you in, and sometimes, like Jaya, when there's a problem, they just refuse to hear it. So my job is getting through. So sometimes it's a slow pitch, sometimes it's a curve, and sometimes it's out of the park.
We have Laura. She's on line 9. She thinks that both of her daughters were molested by her live-in lover.
Laura?
Laura on line 9.
Laura? Laura?
Hello?
Hi, Laura.
This isn't Laura.
Well, who is it?
This is Marie.
So, hi, Marie. We'll go with Marie.
Okay. I'm 42.
What's the problem?
I'm a recovering alcoholic,
Uh-huh.
and I seem to be dealing with everything that went on while I was drinking.
How long have you been sober?
Almost 2 years.
Good for you.
And,
And now you're dealing with what's going on with what's happened since you've been drinking? Or while you were drinking?
what happened before.
Before you were drinking, the thing that made you drink.
Right.
Okay, tell me what that was.
There was an incest relationship with my father for 2 years that I had completely wiped out of my memory till I was in my 20s.
Uh-huh. What made you recall it?
I started seeing a psychiatrist, and it was brought back under hypnosis because he knew there was a problem, and he wasn't sure where it was coming from.
Okay. And when it came to the surface, your reaction was what?
Disbelief.
But what was it that you were trying to hide in the bottle?
I'm not sure. I knew that, excuse me, I knew that...
But you choke on it.
No, I got a cold.
Yeah, but you choked on it at that moment, and the voice quality didn't change that much. Was oral sex involved with your father?
I don't know.
Wait a second. When I asked that question, come here. Can I have camera 4, please? Come here. You can see me?
Uh-huh.
Was oral sex involved with your father?
I don't know.
Before your reaction is much too fast. You don't think about it.
No, I don't. I try not to.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you try not to?
I know it happened, and I know it lasted for 2 years.
You were how old?
I was 8.
Okay.
The
So you've-
specifics, I don't know.
All right. So you never really dealt with it, okay?
I guess not.
And as it came up, it must have made you anxious. It must have made you frightened.
Extremely so.
Okay. The reason I asked about oral sex was that of all the sexual acts that a person does, that's the one where you have the belief that you have some compliance in the act, that you actually did something, right?
Uh-huh.
All right. It's at this point that you begin to doubt your worth and feel shamed about it. And what I think you did is cover the shame of your recollection. Now, all this has to be looked at. Whatever you did, even if you think you were part of it, and even if you think you went along with it, even if you got pleasure out of it, you were innocent because you were a child. You were innocent because you trusted this person. You were innocent because you were afraid. You were innocent because you were 8 years old. Now, you're feeling bad because someone compromised your ability to say no. Do you understand that?
I think so.
All right. Do you have a therapist now?
No.
Okay. It's time. You're ready. You've been through it. You're sober. Do you have a sponsor?
Yes.
Okay, good. And you're sober 2 years? Perfect time to get back into the issues. Stay tuned. I'm going to give you a therapist who will help you work through this business and get to the heart of what it is that you're trying to medicate with the alcohol all these years. Because if you don't deal with that, then it just stays there as a potential for upsetting the apple cart all over again, okay?
Well, that's only part of it. When I was 14, my brother tried the same thing.
Well, that's not part of it. That's not just part of it. That's the same thing.
Well, my question is, did he feel it was okay because possibly he had seen my father?
These are all profound questions of therapy. And to even begin to, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. The chances are they reflect more about how you feel about yourself as a victim than any other thing. And that's what you need to dig into when you deal with this. So take this referral, and it's time to finish the sobriety and make it a lasting thing.
I think we're going to go to commercial now, David.
We're going to go to commercial now, see? I take instruction. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and it's interesting. Sometimes you take a call, you have no idea what it is, and it turns out to be at the center of the problem that we're all dealing with. It's amazing how much incest, child abuse, and problems there are out there.
It's astounding to me. I know that you have way more experience than I do in hearing this on a daily basis, but I'm constantly surprised at how much pain people have in their lives. And then you see people on an everyday basis, and they always seem happy and
Well, the truth is they
together.
don't seem happy. And you notice that people aren't really happy when you just notice the way they react a little bit too much to a situation. You know they're carrying some emotional debt from their life. And there are some people who are always overreacting, always under stress. And that's their past history speaking. And those people, need to be spoken to.
We have Bill on line 5. His wife left him for another woman.
Bill?
No, this is Tanya.
You know what? Bill on line 15. I'm sorry,
Hang
David.
on there, Tanya. We'll be back to you. Bill?
Yes.
Hi, Bill.
How are you?
I'm good. It sounds like you're going through it.
I'm going through it.
How old are you?
35.
What's going on?
Well, it wasn't actually she ran off with another woman. What happened was that she got a job down at a flower shop, and I don't know, the owners there are lesbians, and for some reason or another, she got, I figured, caught up into it, and she ended up, one day just leaving the house, and that was it. And I could tell you she's real depressed, and she says she's lesbian, and she's been that way since she was 8 years old. And the problem I'm having really is that if she's lesbian, that's one thing. But I mean, we've been married for 8 years, and as far as I was concerned, and I went to counseling with her a couple times. She said that that everything was fine in the marriage. So I don't understand why if she wouldn't be bisexual. That's my problem. I don't understand that.
Would she be acceptable to you as a bisexual woman?
Not really. I mean, it wouldn't make a difference, I guess, but I don't understand.
Well, what's the point? You seem to be working towards that as an idea.
Well, it would be different, I guess, because with her being lesbian, like she says she is, she has no contact at all with the kids, and
well, that hasn't anything to do with her being a lesbian or not. It has to do with her not wanting to have contact with the kids.
But it's the whole family unit she shut down. Her mother, her father, her brothers, her sisters, the whole family.
I understand. It doesn't have anything to do with her being a lesbian. It has to do with her escaping from her identity.
Okay.
How old is she?
She's 8 years younger than me. She just turned 26.
So you married her?
Excuse me.
You married her when she was how old?
She was 18.
So I suspect that what's going on with her is that she left a relationship with her parents where she felt controlled and got in a relationship with you where you took care of her, and she's never had a life of her own.
That could be true.
And what she's doing right now has very little to do with being lesbian or being married. It has to do with she is just tired of all of the responsibility, and she is acting free, quote, which is not terribly responsible, but it's allowing her to have some grounds for saying, I'm lesbian, I'm free, I can do whatever I want, the hell with Bill, the hell with the kids, the hell with my family, this is the life I never had.
I understand that. I guess
Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm going through a thing too as far as I'm on disability. I haven't worked, and
How long have you been on disability?
Oh, I've been on disability for 18 months, and I just got back surgery last Monday.
Okay, so it sounds as if she has had it and has never had a life of her own, and she doesn't want to have a husband who, I'm not trying for a moment to justify what she's doing.
Right.
But I'm just trying to understand it and put it in terms of, here is a woman who has never had the emotional means of her own to declare herself, who has been dying to get out of there forever. Did she have depression after the babies?
Actually, our first baby only lived for 15 minutes and passed away, and then we had another son, which everything was fine, and then we went through another son, which they said they detected had the same thing that the first one did, which was a blockage in its urinary tract.
Mm-hmm.
And
so she's been through a lot of pain.
Sure, we both have.
I'm sure, but she just feels that she doesn't want it anymore. Your wife has decided to leave.
Right.
My guess is that for years she's been thinking about this. Surely it's come up in conversations how she's wanted to be out of there, right?
Not really. That's what I mean. It's just she's never gave a clue. And then,
see, that's strange. To me, that's strange because I don't know anybody who was ever married to anybody where the other person, in a moment of honesty and truthfulness, said, "Gee, there are times I think I made a mistake marrying don't take this personal. It's not that I
No,
married you. No, I'm talking to about the conversation that people have. Maybe I shouldn't have been married. Maybe I should have been free. I could have had a life of my own. I could have continued school. I could have had a sports car. I could have visited the Grand Canyon. I could have gone to Vegas. I could have lived in Europe. I could have done all these things, and here I am married. But I love you, and I guess we'll tough it out. Every relationship that's worth anything has those conversations. Your relationship didn't, which means that your relationship had no room to express the feelings, and so your wife, like a pressure cooker, built up inside, and when an opportunity presented itself and she fell under the influence of other people who were talking with her, it grew to the surface and she left. What you might do is say, look, you can be free as much as you want, but you have children who want to call you mom, and that's a responsibility that you can never leave. So as you present it to her in terms like that. Interesting, huh? The truths that you don't express in your life eventually become the motivating forces that cause you to act impulsively and out of control. We'll be right back. Well, we're back. A lot of interesting stuff, huh?
Yeah. We have Tanya on line 13. She's thinking of killing her ex-husband.
Well, that's not uncommon for people to think. Tanya?
Hi.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi.
How old are you?
28.
Why don't you take it from where this feeling comes from? You've been thinking of killing your ex-husband?
Oh, yeah, plotting it in my head and everything.
Why?
Such a butt.
Well, that's the feel. How long has he been your ex-husband?
For 2 years only. And he's just,
Why only?
well, we just barely got a divorce in 90. I've been taking it for 7 years.
Taking what for 7 years?
Garbage.
What is garbage?
He abused me a lot. Mentally, sexually, physically.
All right, do you still see him?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Because he comes to my daughter's school and, because we have visitation between, him and me, to see my daughter. And he keeps coming around and he has some stuff to talk about and we get to arguing and I'm ready to punch him in the face.
Well, why do you talk to him?
Well, usually I just throw my daughter out the door and give him to him, but he ends up finding something to talk about.
No. Tanya, you have to understand what I'm about to tell you. It's not so much that that he does these things. What's important is that you allow what he does to have an effect on you.
Yeah, I do.
Why?
I don't know, he just burns me up.
Well,
I just want to off him.
Yeah, but Tanya, you're creating this because you're not sidestepping it. I mean, he's always going to be offensive and obnoxious.
Yeah.
I think the thing that you cannot stand most is that you married this guy.
This is true.
Okay. So it's you that you're angry at. You think, how could I have been so stupid to marry such a jerk like this, right?
Yeah.
Over and over again. So when you're having anger at him, it's really anger at yourself.
Well, it's not all that either. He was fooling around with another woman.
Well,
and everything.
But you chose him. You had signs very early that this guy wasn't going to work out because there was something wrong with him, right?
Well, I was 17 at the time.
Okay, so what were you doing with a guy at 17 and getting married?
Well, he was very nice to me, and he took care of me. And
he took care of you, which
Yeah.
meant that you came from a home where you didn't feel taken care of.
This is true.
All right. So what you made is one of those terrible transitions.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me the transition you made. You made it from a home to a marriage, and compare the two.
A home would have been better. Well, my grandfather was real mean and stuff. He was like just atrocious.
Okay.
And then I married my husband. Then I moved in with his family, and they were obnoxious. And we just kept getting into fights. I kept going home and coming back, going home, coming back.
Stop. Tanya, the problem is you. You haven't had enough time in your life to grow and become Tanya. You've always been reacting to people. Do you have any plans for yourself?
I'd like to go back to school.
And if you went back to school, what degree would you be trying to get?
I'm not quite sure. I have so many things swirling in my head.
What's floating in your head?
I'd like to go back to school to try to be a lawyer or something, at my age.
Okay, but you're not taking yourself seriously if you're not doing it. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
All of your thoughts don't mean anything because your plans to off your husband, your plans to go to school, both have the same value until they're brought out into the open space. I mean, no one can arrest you for attempted murder, right? But then again, no one can praise you for going to school. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're just ideas. You know what I suggest? That you do something positive for yourself. It's time you created a life that you're proud of.
Yeah, I've always been thinking of my kids. I have kids, you know.
Yeah, but you're a kid too, and your children are going to look at you and say, "What did my mother do? She allowed herself to be abused. She came from an abused relationship. What is right for a child? To be abused." And your children are learning the only lesson that you're teaching, which is a woman is something to be stepped on. Is that what you want to teach them?
No.
Then
I have
start.
2 sons, I have 2 sons and 3 daughters.
But-
I don't want to marry nobody like that.
What did you just say?
I have 3 daughters and 2 sons,
And what?
and I don't want my daughters to have no man like that.
But you're teaching them to put up with it. You're showing them that even when you divorce him, when he comes around again, get emotionally upset, get involved in it, and have a lousy day and take it out on them. That's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the lesson you're teaching them is the very thing you say you hate. Let me teach you about how to deal with this man.
Okay.
You're glad to be rid of him, aren't you?
Oh, God, yes.
You're not rid of him
No, I'm not.
because you're not rid of your self-hatred. You invite him into your life to punish you for the way you feel about yourself. Since you don't feel good about yourself, you let him beat you up. Okay? It's your anger that you get him to punish you for. Because when you have murderous thoughts about another person, you must feel guilty about it, right?
Oh.
Isn't it the truth?
Oh, yeah, because I always let him get to me.
No. You're not hearing me. When you feel like killing someone over and over again, you must feel guilty about that and say, what kind of a person am I to think thoughts like that, right?
Guilty about killing him
Yeah.
and his new wife.
But, now listen to me, because you don't make a joke out of this.
Okay.
You must feel guilty about that in some way. You must say, boy, I have all these thoughts about killing him and his wife. Something must be wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
All right. Because you feel that way, what you do is you let him beat you up to punish you for feeling that way. Don't let him get to you.
Try not to.
No, don't try not to.
Yeah, I won't.
All right. Don't discuss anything. When he comes over, you're busy. Take the kids. He says he wants to discuss something with you. You don't have time. All right?
Yeah.
And limit your conversations with him to 30 seconds. If he can't say it in 30 seconds, he cannot say it. Because there's nothing you cannot talk about with someone in 30 seconds. I think the kid should have a doctor's look at him for that nose thing. Okay, why don't you take care of it? 14 seconds. We got 12 seconds left to talk about it, and then a goodbye. All right, limit the conversation. Start being more straightforward about your life. Choose one course in night school and attend. It's the beginning, and you have to start the beginning. That's why people get into trouble, by the way, more than anything else. Their anger at another person makes them feel bad about themselves, and then they let the other person abuse them to relieve the sense of guilt. That's why kids get in trouble with the law, by the way.
Really?
Yep.
I'm always surprised that more women don't kill their husbands, their ex-husbands.
Dottie, come on. This is to help, not to... we may all feel like it, but we don't all do it.
On line 2, we have Lee, who called us yesterday, David. She's calling back.
Lee.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Lee. You're 26?
24.
24. Tell me what happened, Lee.
What you, I told you yesterday. You told me to call you back.
Right. And you were 6 months pregnant,
Yeah.
and I told you to go down to Planned Parenthood and talk to them, right?
Yeah.
And what did you do?
I got an appointment Friday.
Uh-huh. And how do you feel about having gotten the appointment?
I don't know. I still don't know what to do.
Well, you're going to be talking to someone about what your options are at this point. I mean, you're frozen right now, and you need a friend to take you through this. You're having severe emotional problems because of this pregnancy and the rape. You've obviously not dealt with the rape. No, and you don't want to have the baby, and the law provides that you don't have to do any of those things. You know, even before there was pro-choice in any of the states, there was in every state practically an opportunity for someone who was raped and who suffered the emotional problems that you are suffering to find relief.
I feel like everybody hates me.
You feel like everybody hates you? No one hates you. See, this is what's happening to you, is that you're having the belief that what happened to you was your fault. Everyone hates you. Why does everyone hate you? For getting pregnant? Why does everyone hate you, do you feel? Lee? Why do you think everyone hates you? Or are you just saying words? Come on, tell me.
The way my parents reacted, the way people reacted.
How did your parents react? When did you tell them?
They threw me out of the house.
They threw you out of the house?
Mm-hmm. They couldn't deal with it either.
They couldn't deal with it. But you're 24, right?
Yeah.
Were you working before?
For a while.
And then you stop work?
Yeah.
Why? Why'd you stop working?
Because I was afraid to be around people.
You were ashamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think we need to intervene with you a lot quicker than Friday. I want you to stay on the line. I want you to be taken care of. I don't want you to slip any further. This is, so can we have the screeners really interact on this? Stay with us, Lee. We're gonna act on this because I don't want you to get any more deeper into this. Okay? Hang in there. We should make all the overtures for her to Planned Parenthood. We should make the contact, make it a major issue. We have no time to lose with her. She's extraordinarily depressed. All right?
All right.
Let's
I
go.
have it. Hold it right now. We have Jennifer on line 10. She was accused of child abuse.
Jennifer.
Yes. Hello, Dr. Viscott.
Hi, Jennifer. How old are you?
32.
Accused?
32.
Accused?
I was accused of molesting, sexually abusing my child by this school. It was an anonymous phone call made to the school.
And what happened?
My son was taken out of class and questioned by a detective in the principal's office.
Mm.
The principal did not say, she didn't tell him that you were going into my office to speak to this undercover detective. He was scared to death.
What was the upshot of it?
Well, I was found innocent. The detective said that your child was very calm, and I feel that there is absolutely no abuse, and you should go on with your life. You shouldn't be so emotionally upset over this because we have many cases that are truly abusive, and you should just be fortunate that your case is not one of those. I went and spoke to the police sergeant yesterday, and I said there must be wounded families somewhere that need counseling for such a horrible accusation in their life. I watch my child sleep, and I feel like he has been raped. I feel like he has been stained in some way that I can't protect him from. They said that because I was a single mother and I'm very overly protective toward my child, that I had an abnormally close relationship with my child.
Who said this?
The anonymous phone call. Whoever made this anonymous phone.
Who made the phone call?
I have no idea.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Not at all.
Make it up.
I'm paranoid.
You make it up. That name right there, I heard it. Who was that? Just the first name.
I don't know.
Yes, there's a name. There's a face.
A neighbor, maybe.
Well, and? Does she have children?
Yes.
And does she look at you in any peculiar way?
I would think so, probably.
Why?
I'm very involved in my son's life. I'm very involved in...
Does she comment about it?
I think everyone does. I've been a single mother for almost 9 years, my son's entire life, and I've always been at Cub Scout functions and soccer and baseball, and he's very, very involved. And when the other parents show up, I'm there. I make the detective asked my son, "Do you have a father?" And he said, "Not that I know of. My mom is my dad." And he said, "What do you mean your mom is your dad?" "Well, at Cub Scouts, my mom makes the birdhouses, so my mom is my dad." And they're saying that if I continue to be this emotionally upset, you're going to make your child scared to death of police officers, scared to death of authoritative figures.
That's their guilt.
Exactly. My son...
Who hiss on them? That's their guilt. They're displacing it onto you.
I think psychologically what I did do is...
I think when you're proven innocent, you should get the name of the accuser. I think that should be the payoff.
Well, there are definitely...
I wonder if there's a freedom of information thing here where you can get the name of the false accuser.
Not at all. I've read the child protection laws, and the child protection laws are very strict in this state
I
of
wonder
California.
if you should channel your energy into putting a referendum on the next ballot where when a parent is falsely accused and found innocent, that the name of the accuser is made public to you, and if you wish.
I definitely agree with you, and I have voted this
Who
morning.
else will do this but you?
You're right. The point is that I am...
Channel the energy into something positive. You are, at this moment of your relationship with your child, so consumed with the child
You're right.
that you are focusing something very negative around the child. Take this energy and make a real statement with it. You are calling me and saying, I wonder how many parents suffer emotional problems with this.
Exactly.
Well, then you start that group. Who else is going to do it? Where do you think it comes from? You know the old phrase that necessity is the mother of invention?
Of course.
You have just invented falsely accused parent groups, and you've also invented the false accuser disclosure law. And let's see it on the next ballot. And it was Jennifer here today that did it. Go for it, Jennifer.
Thank you. God bless you.
You too. Let's,
Bye.
Don't take it. Don't take it. If you have been abused, this is a free society no matter what. The reason it doesn't feel free is because you don't have a backbone. Your life is your own creation. No matter what the odds are against you, no matter how heavily you think fate has stacked the deck, you still can create a way out. And my job is to help you find that next step. Watch.
We have Robert. His son brought home pornography from his grandfather's house, and he is on line number 1.
Whatever happened to, well, Robert?
How you doing, Mr. Viscott?
How are you, Robert?
I'm doing okay.
How old are you, Robert?
26 years old.
Okay. Tell me what's going on.
Well, about a year ago, almost a year ago, my 2-year-old son came home with some child pornography pictures, and he had stuck them in his jacket, and he had said, "Grandpa, Grandpa," and they were from my father-in-law's house. And he's told everybody that a big story that's not true, that he found them and he was going to burn them in the fireplace. But the only problem with that is me and my wife seen the pictures when I was 19 years old, and the whole family knew about it. And
The pictures, what? Are they photographs or are they from a magazine?
they're from a magazine. Pages tore out. There's approximately 100 different pictures.
Okay.
And the problem that I have with it is when I first started going out with my wife, she was 15 and I was 16, and I'd come over to her house, and he was always fondling their breasts and their butts.
Fondling whose breasts and butts?
My wife and her two sisters.
Who was fondling them?
Their father, the father-in-law that my son brought the child pornography pictures home from.
Go ahead.
And the problem that I have with it is my wife started going to therapy, and they were telling her that she's been molested. She can't remember things from when she was 8 years old back. And the Children's Social Services came in and spoke to my, looked at my son to make sure nothing had happened to him. And the problem I have with it is that my mother-in-law, she believes that he found the pictures. She doesn't believe that he had them in his possession, all this time. She believes his story. Well, I've turned it all over to the authorities, to the police, and they're telling me not to let the mother-in-law see the kids. I have two kids, two boys, and I don't. I know that's going to be really hard on my wife, and I don't know what really to do about it.
You are the father.
That's right.
And you are the protector.
That's right.
And you have to do what's right, even if your wife comes to hate you for it. Part of what happened to your wife is that she was in a relationship with her father where her whole sense of limits, what was appropriate and what was not appropriate, was blurred by her father. He probably is a very nice guy who just likes to grab a little butt here and a little breast there of his daughter or whoever happens to be around. He's...
Well,
wait a second.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. This is a sicko.
I know that.
You're not a sicko.
I know that.
Your wife is also disturbed. I know you don't want to hear that.
I realize that.
You were with her when she was very young, and you were very young. You love her, right?
That's right.
You love your kids, right?
Very much so.
Then I wish there was a little more energy on the love you had for your wife now. But you have some doubts about her, right? Isn't that what you're saying by that?
No, I don't have no. I have a lot of doubts about the way that the family's reacting to the whole.
Okay, so what I'm picking up is that you don't like the package your wife comes with.
Well, I don't.
Right? Just let's go. Come on, let's get a consensus so I can move. You don't like the fact that she comes with her family.
Well, I don't like the fact that her family doesn't acknowledge the fact that the father is a sick person.
What do you care whether they acknowledge it or not? It's not going to make any difference, because what you're going to do is you're going to separate her family from her.
Right.
And that is the condition of staying together with her, because those children are not going to be abused the way she was.
Right.
She thinks there's something familiar about being abused. Hear the word familiar? Do you hear the word family and familiar?
Right.
That's what makes abuse stay on so long, is because the people who are abused think this is part of our family. This is the way it is. It's not part of your family, right?
That's right.
All right. You have to take a course of action that you never thought you were going to take. You married her very young, and you grew up. She's still a child.
Right.
You know that, don't you?
Yes, I do know that, and I think that she knows that too.
All right. Now you have to act, and you have to be stronger than her parents. They are not allowed to see the family. They are not allowed to have contact. They may write a letter occasionally, and it goes through you. And it can only be read by you or your wife in your presence. Not that we're trying to control your wife. It's just your wife doesn't have the strength to say no on her own.
Exactly.
All right. You have to take over. Don't look for support. Don't look for help. Don't look for understanding. Everyone is going to hate you.
They already do.
I'll be your friend and talk to you. But you must do the lonely thing, the lonely good thing, the good father thing, the thing you never had. Don't ask how I knew that.
I don't know how you did know that.
Because you never would have married at that tender age if you had a good father.
Well, I actually didn't marry her until I was 24 years old.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Right. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Can you be that person?
I sure could, yeah.
No. Are you that person?
Yes.
Let me hear it.
Yes, I am.
A little more strength than the I am. Clear your throat. I mean, I got to hear it. Declare it.
Well, I'm that person. I'm definitely that person. It's just, I tried this a year ago, this little ruse.
Trying doesn't work, and it's not a ruse. It's a decision for the rest of your life as far as you can tell now. There are no appeals that can be made to you by her family to get through.
Right.
There are no appeals. They are the enemy. And if you, in your wisdom and your wife's discussion in a year or two, feel like having a supervised visit with them to see how they are, you may do so.
Mm-hmm.
But you are not obligated to do so. Okay?
Okay.
You are that person.
Yes.
Thanks for calling, Dad.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Very interesting
I
call.
like him, don't you?
Yeah, we really
Yeah.
root for him.
It's so clear. Go ahead.
We have Denise on line 11, worried about her sex life, I think.
Oh, who isn't today? My God, listen. Denise, where
Hi.
are you?
Hi,
Hi, Denise. How old are you, Denise?
35.
Why don't you start?
Okay, when I have sex with my husband, I just, for some reason, I always tend to go into my mind and just pretend that I'm somebody else.
Who do you pretend you are?
Just anybody.
Well, for example,
Maybe somebody that he has cheated on me. So maybe it would be somebody that he has cheated on, or I thought he has, or just I make up somebody. It's never the same. It's it's always different.
all right, always different, but let's see if there is any pattern to the difference, okay?
Hmm.
Is the person younger than you or older than you?
Some older, younger. There's not an age to it.
Okay.
I don't think.
Is the person more attractive than you?
Sometimes, it's not.
Is the person more elegant than you?
Not really.
Is the person slutty?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's the common thing. Okay? And is it enjoyable to be that person?
Yes. Yes, it is, but
What's the hesitation?
because I always feel guilty, or I feel like that I'm not participating myself. I'm shutting myself out, or I really don't know.
Maybe you're just protecting yourself. Maybe you become the person that you don't respect, like the person your husband was having an affair with.
Well, maybe.
Well, maybe. What was the well?
You're right. I'm
Oh.
sure. I've thought of that.
Okay. So who do you have an affair with? And when was that? And how did you find out? And how did you react to it? And how are you now?
Well, it happened about 2.5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
There were two that I know of. There were more I know, but the two I did, it just came out. And
Oh, he just doesn't have affairs. He's a philanderer.
well, he was. I feel like he may be different today.
He may be different.
Well, I have to say honestly that I can't say 100% that I believe he's different today.
Okay, so you have doubt.
I have doubts.
Okay, that's not good.
No,
All right.
doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good at all to me either.
Anyways, he.
Anyways, he?
Well,
Anyways, you?
yeah, me. I know. This is my problem. I realize that.
Do you love him?
Yes, I do.
Give 4 reasons why.
He's a good man today.
What is a good man? Someone who has girlfriends?
No, he's a recovering drug addict, which has turned a lot of things around in our lives.
Uh-huh.
He's a different person today.
You're not giving reasons why.
Why I love him?
Yeah, you're giving reasons.
He is good to me.
Having
We're
a fa-
good friends.
You call having an affair on you being good to you? And
No,
you
but
don't-
that
and
isn't
not,
good.
and lying about it because you still don't know how many there were?
No, I don't.
All right.
I
So,
guess I try to, I won't get any answers, so I just maybe think that if I just leave it alone.
right. So that's why you're having all these fantasies, because your mind has questions that come to the surface at those times when you need to be open. You're not a woman at peace.
Right.
And I have some problems with you, Denise, and I have to talk to you, okay?
Okay.
One, your self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Yes, it is.
You'll tolerate any abuse as long as you are with someone.
Uh-huh.
What's the uh-huh?
You're right. I believe that. I have told myself that. It's hard to admit that to yourself, but
Well, let's admit it. Let's admit it right out here.
yes, I do admit it.
All right. And that means that your presentation of him and his problems is highly distorted. You present it with the emotional expectation that, oh, it could be worse, this isn't so bad. That's what you start with. You present it with the framework of saying, oh, I don't have to leave this, or I don't have to be on my own. It's not so bad. It's only a few women. I don't know who they are. Oh, so I present to be like them. It's okay. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can't live like that. You're living like a scared rabbit on the edge of a precipice with wolves attacking you. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Do you work?
No,
Why not?
because I have a lot of children, and I need to be in the home. They're
Ages?
15 to 11. They're
Pretty big.
Yes, they are.
Guess what? You need a job. You need an identity.
Uh-huh.
Because you're so dependent upon this man, you can't think straight. And you don't need it for the money, you need it for the self-esteem.
Mm-hmm, I do.
Okay, and you also need to work on this. You really need to work on this because you're not getting any younger,
Mm-hmm.
and the truth is you have a lot of resentment that's just building, and instead of directing it at him, you've directed it at yourself, and it's lowered your self-esteem. You stay there. We're going to give you a referral because this is something that really you need to work out. Don't take it. Don't take it. You've got to grow, and don't pretend. Come on, if it's not good, it's not good, and saying that it's going to be better is not going to make it better. You have to make your life better by admitting what's wrong. How can you fix it if you don't admit it? David Viscott, I understand we have another caller.
Desiree is calling back from yesterday. She's on line 14.
Desiree. Desiree?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
What'd you do after that conversation? Remember what I told you?
Yeah, I went to the school, and they like didn't enroll me or nothing, like because I don't have my shot records. But we called them Friday. We called my other school Friday. They could send my shot records to them, and like I guess my shot records were already there or something, but no one would like help me. They were all rude.
Okay, so where are you with it now?
I'm nowhere. I mean, I'm still in the same place where I started from.
Well. Are they going to allow you to start school?
No, not yet. They don't. I was supposed to go today at 11 o'clock, but then they don't know where my shot records are or nothing.
Okay, but your other school knows where they are, right?
Yeah, we called them, and like they didn't have copies or nothing, and I guess they already sent them off.
Okay, to this other school?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a matter of a day or so, right?
Yeah, we called them Friday though.
All right, so but the main thing is you took the right step, and the records are going to be sent, and you're going to go to school. Same thing for your sister, too? Or is it your brother?
My sister, no, we called up in Sacramento, and we asked them when they were going to send their records down, and they said whenever they could. So we don't know, like, when we're going to start or anything.
Well, that's not good. I wonder, Dottie, do we have anybody around who can help Desiree out?
Desiree on hold, and we'll try to help Desiree.
Hey, Desiree, do you see what this is?
Uh-huh.
That's called a muscle. We're going to use a little muscle on this.
Okay.
Okay, stay on. We're going to help you through this because there's no sense of Desiree not being in school. A kid who wants to go to school, and the thing that's in the way is the school system. Is this what we pay taxes for? Is this what we pay taxes for? Who do we have?
We have Mary. She wants to have a sex change operation. She's on line 3, David.
Mary? Mary?
Yes.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Tell me what's going on, Mary.
Well, when I was about 9 or 10,
I decided I was different, so to speak.
You're how old now?
I'm 20,
Okay.
and I just kind of felt more comfortable, hanging out with the guys and, wearing the guys' clothes and everything. And of course, back then it was like, no, you're just a tomboy, everything's okay. But now that I'm 20, I've like, well, here I am still wearing the guys' clothes, still wearing, hanging out with the guys and just one of the guys. Is that normal or what? So I found myself not happy with my body either. I have to, when I shower in the dark, so I don't have to look at myself. I don't look at myself in the mirror. I'm just really confused, I guess, on why I feel the way I do.
All right. Have you ever talked to anybody about this?
No, no one in my family knows at all. Just
Okay,
it's
so
just
that
something I've kept inside.
all right. When you say guys, who are you attracted to sexually?
Women.
You're attracted to women.
Yeah, I'm in a women-women relationship right now.
Okay. When you make love to a woman, do you make love to a woman like a woman, or do you want to make love to a woman like a man?
Like a man.
Okay. You see, let me tell you what was running through my head. First of all, you're 20 years old.
Right.
So I would rule out doing anything for at least 5 years. Does that sound like too long a period of time?
No. Well, I mean, I've waited so long now. I can wait longer.
All right. Why don't you enjoy being a lesbian?
Well, see, that's just it. I don't consider myself as a lesbian because of how I feel.
I
about
understand
myself.
that. That's why I said that. Why don't you just enjoy yourself as a lesbian for a while?
I could try.
What I'm asking you to do is to surrender to your emotional identity.
Mm-hmm.
And stop pretending you're a guy. You're a woman. Okay?
Okay.
You can dress like a man, you can smoke cigars, and you can swear and spit on the street if you like. Okay?
Okay.
But you're a woman.
Right.
And you should make love like a woman and let a woman make love to you like a woman and enjoy being a lesbian.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is you need to immerse yourself in what you are as much as you can.
Okay.
That you know, right?
Yes.
All right. And once you give into that, I think you'll be getting more input from the people that you meet to feel comfortable about yourself. One of the things we want to do is remove the discomfort. Okay?
Okay.
Let me ask the difficult questions. Were you an only child?
No.
Are the others boys or girls?
I have an older sister, an older brother, and a younger sister.
Who gets treated the best?
My older brother.
Did you notice that?
No. I just noticed that
How
about
could
3 or
you-
4 months ago.
Yeah, well, so that
So-
some part of you must have noticed it before. And who treated that older brother the best?
My mother.
Okay. So why are you laughing?
Well, it's
You
just
ju-
really strange because no one's really, asked me that before.
I know, but you also had a realization in the laugh. Tell me the realization in the laugh. Like, come on, there was more there, right? That's it. Now I see that if I were a boy, I could have gotten my mother's love
Right. See, that's what I thought of.
at that moment in the laugh.
Yeah.
We all heard that. Okay? So there's a lot of psychological things going on here.
Right.
Now, what you need to understand is, and I'm not going to give you a referral right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll tell you why I'm not going to give you a referral. Because I want you to declare yourself as a lesbian and go out and just have a good time.
Okay.
Make lesbian friends. Don't call yourself a man. Turn the lights on, sweetheart, when you shower, and be proud of what you are.
Okay.
All right? And just put it aside. What you've done is you've taken a posture, and I think the posture you've taken is false. And to make a sex change operation this point in your life, you would justify it for the rest of your life as the right thing that you did, but you'd be 60 years old telling everyone what a right thing you did instead of just being that thing. Be first the lesbian that you are. The rest will take its own course. Call me back in 5 years. I have a feeling I'll be here. Okay?
Okay.
And at that time, I don't think you'll want to be a man. And you'll be talking to your mother then. You may get that's the other thing. Talk to your mother. Talk to your mother.
Okay.
We'll be right back. David Viscott, trying to find the pulse of Los Angeles this morning.
We have Rick on line 14. He wants to have sex with women, too.
I don't understand that, but I'm going to try it. Rick.
Hi, Dr. Viscott.
How old are you, Rick?
I'm 28.
28?
28, right.
Explain the comment, you want to have sex with women, too.
Well, I have a lot of guilt associated to having sex with women, and I always have. I mean,
Where does it come from?
I think it comes from my Catholic upbringing and from me not really understanding a lot about sexuality as a child, never talking about it with my parents. And I always felt that having sex with a woman was somehow defiling her. Somehow it was a sin, a bad thing. So when I got to be about 18, I started having sex with men, and in a weird way, I never felt any guilt about that. Because I felt like if I was having sex with men, I wasn't really defiling them, because men aren't as good as women in a certain way. I don't know.
Well, certainly you didn't feel you were as good as women, right?
No, of course not. Absolutely not.
Where did that belief come from?
I don't know.
Catholic school?
I went to Catholic school for a couple of years.
How'd you get along with the nuns?
They were awful.
No, but I mean, how did you get along with the nuns?
I didn't get along with nuns well at all.
What was the message they taught you?
That boys were dirty little animals, basically.
And you bought it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I don't regret that I've had, relationships with men at all. I don't regret it. I don't think it's a bad thing. But somehow I feel like I'm missing out on part of my sexuality by not being able to have a sexual relationship or a comfortable sexual relationship with a woman.
Have you had any?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And what was that like?
During the heat of passion, it was fine, but I felt sort of guilty afterwards, like I did something.
Okay, did you talk about it?
No.
Okay. And what would it have taken for you to have felt better?
Probably, gosh, I don't even know.
There's a poem by Chaucer called Troilus and Cressida, the two great lovers of history,
right.
Although we don't know about it in our times. But there's one scene where Troilus has just made love to Cressida and is feeling guilty, and he feels remorse that he should be in the bed. I will not try to quote Chaucer after so long an absence, but she says to him, in essence, "My dear Troilus, do not despair, for if I had not made up my mind to sleep with you a long time before I came into this bed, I would not be in this bed now." The problem is that you don't value women as persons.
Right.
Right, he says. It's not that you're afraid of defiling them, it's you don't give them credit for having a mind of their own.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect it has to do with your relationship with your mother.
Right.
Right. What's your relationship with your mother?
Well, I grew up in an alcoholic home.
Was she the drinker?
No, she was the codependent.
And so she was a doormat.
Right. And she was a saint. I always thought she was a saint, just the sweetest, nicest thing in the world.
And you could never do anything to hurt her, right?
Never.
But the thing that you were angry with her all your life is that she took it and no one stood up to your father's problem.
Right.
Right, he says. You say right so matter-of-factly. There's no fight in your right.
Well, there's no fight about that. The truth is the truth.
But the truth is that seeing your mother being stepped on made you feel enraged, and that you felt that anything that would be done in any aggressive way towards a woman would be bad. And since sex requires some aggression, some activity, that you attributed a sense of anger to that, and that's why you pulled away from women. It's time to get a little therapy and work on that, because I think you could be a lot better and a lot happier. Dottie.
Well, we didn't get to talk to Lori today, who we had teased her when we went to commercial. She
we'll get to her tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk to her tomorrow. I don't want people to think we're ignoring her.
Well, we're not ignoring her. We're not ignoring you. And we're waiting for you to call. Maybe tomorrow's your big day.
I thought the call from Tanya today was so interesting. She was the woman who was thinking about killing her husband. I think that women have that feeling of loss of power so much. That
hers wasn't the loss of power. Hers was that she gave it all away. She didn't ever really try to be assertive in any sense with this man. And whenever he took over a little bit, she felt the rage and just played into it. So she was really hating herself for her own weakness.
But I think I know so many women who do that.
I'm
That's
sure.
just something that happens. You lose control, and the next thing you know, you're like an